can sell the other 29 days of the year. It doesn't only have to be the last day of the year, last day of the month.
It doesn't matter where it's so crazy. Nothing. It's always like I see 50% of the revenue comes in the last week of the month or the last month of the quarter if you kind of work more quarterly. So whenever someone's like, we should have like annual targets, I'm like, yes, hear me out. You monthly is going to be a lot better for you just because people can't think annually. Dude, I can barely think the week.
Yeah, and I really don't think it's often intentional by anybody. It's just
no
deadlines are deadlines, right? And you just work different.
Yeah, exactly. All right, sweet.
So the key is daily targets.
Yeah. Yes. I'd say once a year I have some idea that you should be paid per action. Like you literally like you can like watch like a ticker of your bank account and it's like you got paid 85 cents because you made a cold call. That's a somewhere that'll be a thing.
Yeah. No formula.
Right? Like you just pull some formula and it does it. That goes back to one of my first $1 billion ideas that I'll never do is I want a gym that's $400 a month. You have to buy 3 months up front, but every time you go, we literally hand you a $20 bill. So if you go 5 days a week, it's $0. But nobody goes 5 days a week. So you go 5 days a week for the first week or two, you go, this is amazing. And then you end up not going. And I end up just taking money from people that are not going to the gym. That was my idea in like high school.
I kind of like that. Yeah.
Right.
There are
by 3 months up front. So you're like, sweet, I'll be motivated to go because I did it. And we go, hey man, you wasted a bunch of money last quarter. Why don't we roll it over? We'll do it for $700. Okay, cool. Last time we talked about coaching. So we recapped a little bit on feedback. When you blank happens. Blank needs to be something they give a fuck about. Blank needs to be something that's visual. They cannot argue it. Blank happens needs to be something they give a shit about. Even when I'm coaching people, I typically find them go like, watch this, Mike. And they'll be like, hey, can I give you some feedback? Yesterday, it was so great that you did that thing. And I'm like, you failed. You thinking that something is great is not what they're motivated by. Okay. Then we talk through coaching, and that's where we spend the majority of our time. So coaching, we're collaborating on a goal, collaborating on a plan, offering help, collaborating on a milestone. So what we're not doing is saying, hey man, you got to get better at making calls. We're saying, what do you want to get better at as it relates to calls? We're not saying, hey man, you got to get better at tonality. We're saying, what do you want to get better at as it relates to tonality? We're also not saying after they agree that that's their problem, here's what you should do this week. We're saying, what do you think you should do as it relates to more calls? What do you think you should do as it relates to training? This gets them to forced into a corner where they are agreeing that they have a problem and that they have a solution, and they're going to use whatever solution we talked about to be their solution, even though it may not be something that they would proactively want to go after. Then we offer resources. So we don't say, how can I help you? Where can I support you? We say, I'm going to either curate this for you or I'm going to connect you to somebody. Would that be okay? I'll go find 10 accounts that are good accounts to go after. I'll go whatever. Is that okay? This now creates a level of guilt. Oh shit, my dad just did something for me. I kind of got to do something back to like make it even. It also creates some momentum. Hey, I'm now on step 2 versus on step 1. And then at the end, if you can, you want to figure out a milestone so that we're not just like, great, we'll focus on this forever. It's like, when do we know you're done with this? And that is when I've gotten 10 weeks and we've never had this question come up. 5 weeks and it's never come up. I would rate it a 10 out of 10, whatever. And now all this was related to today's topic, which is one-on-ones. So one-on-ones, there are 3 primary goals of a one-on-one. The primary goal number 1 is, and they're all selfish, and they're all exclusively business focused, even though it feels like a very soft thing. Goal number 1 for a one-on-one is make the rep feel like we like them and we care about them. You will never work hard for someone who you don't think likes you or you don't think cares about you for any extended period of time. So what we're going to do is we're going to have, that's why the first 10 minutes, 10, 10, 10, 10 is personal, or 10 is you. This is to say, this 10 minutes, I'm dedicating time to be like, hey man, like, how are you actually doing, man? I just saw a video by this creator, I'm sure you guys see too, on TikTok, and he's like, when you have a millennial manager, because millennial managers are the best. I say this as a millennial.
Yeah.
Which is to say, the guy's like, hey man, how are you? No, not about work, man. Like, God, things have been crazy. How have things been going? Truly, this is why you're like, I'm with you. I will fight. I will do what you tell me to do later. That sucks because you are being cool and friendly with me now. This needs to be authentic. You can't fucking bullshit it. There's a variety of questions you guys have access to in the HQ doc and the one-on-one section for like different one-on-one questions you can ask. I like to just pick categories of things. Like when I'm thinking off the top of my head, I usually just say like, how are things going? Yeah, I say this, I'm realizing I say as it relates to very often. But I'll be like, as it relates to like your friends, as it relates to your family, as it relates to going out, as it relates to vacations, as it relates, just get a conversation going. Cool. So once you've asked them questions and we've had some banter that show them you give a fuck about them, then we can do the second thing. And the second thing we want to accomplish with one-on-ones is you want to make it clear that this is a transactional money relationship. So if we miss either one of these two, it doesn't work. This is the balance beam. If we go all personal, lovey, I don't have to work hard. All professional, where the fuck are your numbers? You don't give a shit about me. So we need both of these things at the same moment to give them the same weight. So on the professional side of things, this is where we're going to look. We're going to pull up their scorecard. We're going to pull up maybe their deals if that's what's really critical right now. We're going to pull up any stats on them. My favorite thing to do when talking about the professional side, my transition question is like, how are things going as it relates to work? So it's like, how are things going as it relates to being at home, like exploring the city, the weather, the new season? What's happening in your life, man? How are things going as it relates to work? Now we're in the professional section. How are things going at work? Now, in the work section, you can ask about deals. You can ask about pipeline, any of that stuff. You may see me make content where I say you should not be saying these things in one-on-ones. I say that for general content because what most people do in their one-on-ones who talk about those pipeline and deals and everything is that's all they're talking about. And I'm like, there's a separate pipeline review meeting that we should be doing. But if that's what's critical to be talking about in this one-on-one for this 10 minutes is like, fuck, what's happening professionally? We have a few problems. Your pipe is fucked. We got to figure this out. We can have that conversation. Now the other thing in here is similar to in the first section, personal. I want to prove to you that I care about you and I like you. In the second section, I want to prove to you that I work for you. If you think I like you and you see me do shit for you, you will be uncomfortable not reciprocating. If I just started handing you guys $100 bills, eventually you'd be like, Mike, please stop. This is uncomfortable. I'm going to be indebted to you for something. You're going to call a favor in, okay? So what we want to do in the beginning is we're like, what's up? What's happening in the world? Write a couple things down in our one-on-one docs so we remember who they are as a human. The second thing we're going to do is we're to ask some professional things. One of the questions I like to ask in the professional section is, what's slowing you down? What's pissing you off? What's really fucking annoying about working? If you could change something tomorrow, what would you change? You know, if you were me, what are the things you'd change? And I promise you the majority of this shit is like, it's like meetings, fucking fields, buttons, emails that go out, things that can be solved with like one Slack to someone to be like, hey, Sarah, can you stop sending that email? Hey, Jake, can we get Tony off of that meeting? hey, ops, can we like remove that field from being a required field and instead it's optional? Or it could be also personal things like, Tim's been really fucking pissing me off, or I hate that you always bring up a leaderboard. It's too much pressure. But a lot of these things are going to be like super fixable. Not like, I hate that our company doesn't have a fucking 401k policy. You know what I mean? Though that can be issues too. And sometimes just hearing people, that's valid, man. I totally hear you. That fucking sucks. Sometimes that helps. But they think we like them. Well, hopefully we do. We care about them. We ask about their personal life because we give a shit. Then we're like, dude, your numbers are fucked. How are we going to get better? By the way, what's holding you back? Now we're helping them. Now they're indebted to us. And they want to go through a brick wall for us. Okay. The one phrase I want to give you guys within coach this professional section, I have a very similar thing. I'm just going to pull this up from Harvard. Mel Robbins, 19 words. Yeah, Mel Robbins has this. You probably see her online. This is like Mel Robbins. You seen this lady? She talked about like this phrase she uses. I have high expectations and I believe you can meet them. And that's why I'm giving you this feedback. So would you say that the psychological safety in that, like, I believe you can meet them, clarity, like that you are wrong. Okay. So I'm going to pull that up as a clout for what I'm going to say, which is to say for years, what I've been using is, hey man, I feel like you're a top rep, but I was looking at the numbers and you're not the top rep. Or, dude, I feel like you're like, everybody knows that you're like, if anybody should be able to sell something, it's definitely going to be you. Like, but then I looked at the leaderboard and I was like, how the fuck is Sarah beating you on win rate? What's going on there? Or like, dude, I feel like you should be crushing right now and you're not. How are you doing? All right. Personally, like I know that you're like a top rep. What I'm basically doing here is similar to Mel. I'm like, I believe in you. I believe you're here. And so I'm actually confused why you're not there. What I'm doing is I'm creating an identity for this person by being like, I believe you're here. And that person's like, yeah, me too, basically, by being silent even. And then it, again, creates an awkwardness to not solve that problem. So if I just was like, you should be doing better, don't you think? People are going to be like, I mean, I'm working my fucking ass off, dude. No. But if I'm like, dude, you're like a top rep in the team, right? Yeah. Well, but I looked at your numbers and they weren't showing that. What's that about? Now they're like, well, actually, well, hold on. Maybe are the numbers wrong? You're like, no, the numbers aren't wrong. Like, well, maybe I was just looking at a week. No, let's look at the whole month, man. Huh. Weird. Now I feel uncomfortable because I agree I'm here, but I'm not here. How the fuck do I solve that? I'm not aligned with my values. I'm not aligned with who I am. So that's a good question or version of that kind of question I'll ask there. And then the last 10 of a one-on-one is coaching, which is what we talked about last time. Hey, what do you want to get better at? Why do you want to get, or what could you do to get better at that thing? I'll help you by doing X. How do we know that we've completed this? One-on-ones will never be 10-10-10. They will always be like 28-0-10. It'll be a mess. The difference is, but when you know they should be 10-10-10, like you guys know you should be doing like discovery and demo and next steps on like a sales call. So when you're on a call and you realize you're demoing the product and it's like minute 4, you're like, oh fuck, I fucked up. Doesn't mean you go back and stop and go, well, let me go. But you know you were wrong. So on the next call, you're like, oh shit, I gotta be cognizant of that. So that's why you want to have this like 10-10-10 sort of like warning track in your mind of what you should be doing. Do you feel? Go ahead.
I was just going to mention, I also feel like when I've been kind of sticking to that now, it's a cadence that my reps wouldn't be able to name, but they feel. And so it's kind of like, whereas before I was kind of having to abruptly move through stages sometimes, now it's kind of like they kind of recognize that, oh, now we're going to move to this and to this, but I doubt any of them could name that's what it is, but they feel it and expect it.
Yep, that's great. And I actually don't care either way. Even if it is like, let's move to the professional section. That's fine. Because I want them to be like, I know when I go to talk to, because you guys know what it's like when you talk to your boss. You're a little bit butt tight, and you're like spending time ahead of time going, what the fuck is he going to ask me? And you're thinking through in your head of like, what are the 20,000 different meetings you've had with them? And if your boss is like anything like everybody else's boss, there's no pattern. It's just like, here's a bunch of tasks and why is our sales not where it is? And then you run into that meeting and they're like, I saw this in a podcast. And also I looked at this one really specific deal. And why is that happening? And what's up with Jared? And you're like, Jesus Christ, like, where are we going with this? Whereas if you knew that, if they knew it was going to be personal, professional future, they should look, you would come like, here's what we have to get accomplished. Here's what's not done. You're like, here are my issues. Cause you're used to this rhythm. Cool. All right, sweet. In the one-on-ones, you guys all have access to the HQ doc. In the HQ doc, on the one-on-one section is where you want to keep information like this living. If anybody's not familiar, I'll share this. No, I don't want to fucking make everything a table. In the command center here, you've got your one-on-one stuff here. So the idea is you can give feedback by knowing what they're motivated by. Maybe you realize in the one-on-one what they're motivated by. They're like, my dad's everything. You're like, okay, cool, dad. Whatever. What's pissing them off? These are the kinds of things you guys can fix. What do they stink at? This is what you guys should be coaching them on. So what do you want to get better at as it relates to this thing right here? What they're currently working on because you're coaching them. General notes. Family, friends, whatever. Cool. And then we have these three things over here. So let's talk about these three things over here. Train, retain, or remove. In here, my recommendation is you've got people on your team and you want to put them in, you want to do this in two different ways. So if you guys are just following along, feel free to like just put this on a piece of paper if you haven't done this before. Just like make a little thing and put your reps' names. The first thing you want to do is stack rank the reps like how you would put them on a kickball team. Like if you had to truly just like pick your team, who would you fire first? Who would you fire second, third, fourth, or whatever? You know what I mean? So let's say this is how I would do it. This now, this is on the y-axis is potential. Pretty much just like, how good do you think this rep could ever be? So I'm like, Robbie's the best, David sucks, full stop. Then you want to look at their performance and be like, in the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, year, whatever you feel like is appropriate, how have they done? Bad or perfect? Or bad or perfect? So when you do this, the bell curve mathematician will tell you that you're probably going to have something that looks like this. Never works exactly like that. But the reason I like doing this is oftentimes, well, it doesn't matter why. I'm just fucking telling you to do it. Up or down first, and then left or right. This is what your team will probably look like. And obviously the goal is to have your team, look like this. Like everybody's got high potential and high performance. So the concentration of people up here is what you do want. Concentration down here is what you do not want. But it'll probably look like this. So in here and doing this, I like to do this once a month, once a quarter to get an idea of like, oh, fuck, I got to cut this guy, Dave. I got to cut him. He's not cutting it. It's not fucking working. Or like, dude, I haven't talked to Robbie in a week. I got to give this kid like a gift of some kind or something. So one example of what I've done with this is, oh, here, let me share my whole screen. Is this, so this is Advocate. This is a company I'm like fractional CROing for. So we got, we had some coins made. This was $800 for 50 coins. And it's sick, I think. And then we also got postcards made because they have like an incentive, like a President's Club. Put a little logo on it, President's Club, and it's just a postcard. And then now I have for them, or this would probably be a better way to show you. There it is. So now what we have for them is, hey, if the person hits their targets for 1 week, recognize them in some way. 2 weeks, formally recognize them. And the managers know that formal recognition is with a handwritten letter. Then high commission and more. I wrote more because the reps are going to see this. Then this is where they'd get a, this is recognition. This is an email from the CEO. This is a handwritten postcard. This is a coin. So I've like standardized this for this company so that because there's so many managers. And let me show you what else I've done here. So I have like, this is a manager's view. So in their checklist of things to do that I've given this company, I have at the end of the day, if someone did something awesome, if it's a level 1 awesome, send a note to your boss to send a note to them. If it's really awesome, grab one of the postcards. If it's super awesome, give them a coin. Okay. This is the kind of shit that if you don't do it because you didn't, which typically happens because you didn't do a 9-box matrix, so you don't have visibility or like easy access to the knowledge that this rep is like a super important rep to you. You end up seeing the top reps as people that are just like, they're the guys who make my day easy. And you just kind of move on versus making sure they're getting coins or postcards or trophies or recognition from your boss or recognition from you that's more formal than just like, dude, great job. So that they want to stay. Questions in here and stuff, by the way, guys? Cool.
It's making me feel like I need to do more, which is good.
Good. And
I will add,
go ahead.
if I may,
Yeah.
it is the small things that make all the difference. Like,
Yeah.
the little gestures add up and create that loyalty and that sense of, oh, they appreciate me. It doesn't always have to be the big sweeping, oh, here's your bonus. It's just, I noticed that. I notice you. I see you.
Yep. 75% of this was a stat that I got from this podcast I was listening to. So, take it with a grain of salt. 75% of people that are promoted quit within 6 months.
Crazy.
It's like the ultimate recognition. Here's a new title and more pay. And they're like, sick, I'm the man. And then they go, damn, dude, I'm the fucking man. And they're out of here. Whereas the smaller things, I just got off with a girl. Her company is, they're a public company and they're getting bought out because the company has so much debt. They said a $600 million loss, civil suit even. And she's like, everyone's quitting. I'm like, what are you going to do? She's like, I'm sticking around. I'm like, why? She's like, because my boss lets me do whatever I want. She knows I'm burnt out, so she's giving me 2 weeks vacation paid, like right now, just because I need it. This is going to cost the company nothing, and she's saving the company millions of dollars. So that's what it is that's keeping her around while all the other people are quitting. All right, cool. Sweet. So in that HQ doc, we want to make sure we're looking at the flight risk and all that stuff, and if someone should be trained, retained, or removed weekly, so that we are thinking, fuck, let me be really nice to this guy right now, or really mean, or whatever. Coaching. Okay, cool. Couple of rules and one-on-ones. I want you to think about the one-on-ones like your dad coming to whatever sport you played. Maybe this is too close to home for me. My dad played like single leg ball for the Yankees, and is like a 7-time Hall of Famer in wrestling. And so he's like, my whole thing is like growing up, even too, he had like trophies on the wall of like racquetball and pool. And I'm like, dude, I'm not even that athletic, but like, how do I get your love? And he was like, I love baseball. So I played baseball. I fucking hated baseball. So, but every time he wasn't in the stands, not that we had stands on the hill next to the fucking field, I was so hurt. I was so hurt because I was doing it for him. But every time he was there, I was so nervous. I didn't want to look bad in front of him. This is how your employees feel about one-on-ones. They are so hurt when you cancel them or show up late, even though they don't actually want you there, because they are so uncomfortable when they're in a one-on-one. But it's like that uncomfort is not bad. You not being there is that small thing Andrew was saying here, is that small thing that says, I don't give a fuck about you. I have other shit that matters. So you just you showing up is like a big piece of it. Even if you're like stressed and miserable and you don't quite get the 10-10-10 right, you being there is the dad showing up. My dad showing up for my baseball game. Okay, so it matters. My recommendation here too, start the one-on-ones with the exact same question. The reason I say this is wherever we can, you want your culture to be tangible. If you walk into a police station, you immediately feel weird because you're like, they're all in uniforms. I'm not in a uniform. I'm an outsider. My behavior is different than their behavior. I have different expectations of what I should be doing. Whereas if you walk in the station with the police uniform on, you also feel like there are different behaviors I exhibit now that I didn't exhibit 20 minutes ago when I was just like driving around. And that's because there's a tradition of this uniform. It is physically telling you you are different. We want people to feel and know they are different when they're at work on our teams. I want to reiterate this with you. You've played on different teams. You've worked in different companies. You've acted differently on different teams. You've acted differently at different companies. Not because of who you are. Like, of course, you're the same person. But because of the traditions, the things that let you know you were on a different team. Okay? So here, as much as we can reinforce that, every time we talk about a new culture, a new value set, or a new behavior, or a new thing that we accept or don't accept, that will be that sticks. But if every time it feels like there's no culture, that we're all this a combination of human beings, and the only things that are common and typical are more change, then it just feels like, God damn, there's always change. But if they feel like it's all the same place and there's a lot of change, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of change. It just feels like this is the kind of new thing we do. So one way you can show that we are, one tradition you can have is your one-on-one start the exact same way. Mine are just, how are things? The other reason this is really important is because every meeting your rep has with you is typically a scary meeting. A pipeline meeting. Fuck, you're going to find out that I'm fucking up my pipeline. It's like a company meeting. Fuck, this is going to be a really annoying meeting I got to be on. CEO meeting, like, fuck, he's gonna yell at us to give more shit. Team meeting, fuck, he's gonna remind us we gotta do more. But when your one-on-ones are, how are things? This reinforces like, oh yeah, this guy actually gives a shit about me. This isn't like a, okay, so your numbers and let's go through it meeting. He actually cares. Well, I prefer not to do these on Mondays or Fridays because there's typically holidays on Mondays or Fridays, or you're trying to leave early on Fridays or whatever. And I will say, one way to make these meetings go from good to great or like fine, but like really impactful, is make sure you're taking some notes. You could take them afterwards. That's totally fine to stay present or whatever. But in your HQ doc, put things like what they're working on or like their brother, their sister. It's so shitty. Like 4 months in, you're like, don't you have 2 brothers? And they're like, no, I'm an only child. And it just like wipes away all the progress. Cool. Thank you guys for your time. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. I love you all. See you soon.